Okay, welcome back to another Tech Talk with KeepItTechie. I'm glad to see you guys in the building. Let me give a couple shout outs right fast. What's up, Zakiba? You were the first in the building. Thanks for being here. Kev runs on Duncan. I'm glad you like the music, man. Salute. Derek Mack, what's up, man? Good to see you. Femi, and I don't want to mess up your name. Yuku, good to see you. Fari, good to see you. But I'm excited about today's Tech Talk. Today, I have a very special guest in the building. It's someone I've been following for a while. Ever since I found him on um whose channel was that? I can't remember whose channel that was. But I found you on somebody's channel. I can't remember his name, but anyway, I'm glad to have him in the building. I've been following him for a while. He does a lot of videos trying to help people get into the IT field, as well as interviewing people that are in the field. And he does a lot of things to try to help people get in the field, and so that's what I try to do. So I figured it'd be good for us to collab and come together and do something. But today I have Kevtech. How you doing, Kevtech?
I'm doing good, man. How's it going? How's everyone doing? Hope everyone's having a good day.
Yeah, man, I'm glad you was able to come through, man. I appreciate you, taking your time out to come do this and everything. And let me finish the shout outs. Aaron, good to see you. Aaron Daniels, Eric Kellen, what's up? What's up? Mace Taggart, what's up, man? How you doing, bro? Salute to you too. And Professor Black Ops, yeah, how you doing, man? Cybersecurity for the people. Yeah, what's up, bro? So, um, I always like to start off the interview by asking you how you got into really how you got into the IT field, and a little bit about your background.
Yeah, sure. So I guess it's like when you go on a job interview, right? And ask you, tell me about yourself,
Mm-hmm.
kind of deal. So my introduction. So my name is Kevin, and basically I'm from New York. I work. I work IT support, but how did I get into IT, right? So the thing is I worked. I have a weird background, so you're gonna be confused right now. This is really weird. So my background is really weird. I have about 12 years of restaurant experience, and I also work for the NYPD. So people don't
Wow.
know that I did work for the NYPD as well. So I have a combination of restaurant experience and NYPD. And then what happened with me was I worked in a restaurant for a couple of years, and then after that, I transitioned over to IT because someone told me about certifications. I didn't know about any certifications at all. I didn't know what A plus is. I didn't know what Network Plus is, Security Plus. I didn't know about Microsoft certifications. I didn't know about anything about IT. I'm just a running around. I'm a running around mill random guy that was interested and curious about technology. So basically, what happened was I worked in a restaurant. I got laid off the restaurant business
Mm-hmm.
because they just didn't have enough money to keep the restaurant going. So
Mm-hmm.
I got laid off the restaurant, and then I had the two options. I have the option of being unemployed and getting unemployment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I had the other option of actually studying something. So I went to a technical training school, and I went there and I started studying my A plus because people would tell me about it. I didn't know what that was. So
Mm-hmm.
I went to a school. I studied A plus, and then in that same school, we had like we had like a IT manager that interviews people and helps them get a job in IT. So we have like a career, like a job careers, and basically different companies and different people will come to the school and they interview you physically there. And if they like you, they will hire you. If not, they won't hire you. So I went, I studied my A plus, and then I went and I got my first job as a field technician for the Department of Education. So
Okay.
that was my first job in IT. So
Cool.
and that's how I got started in IT. But I have a background with like NYPD. I did restaurant. I worked a lot of different types of restaurant businesses, and I also did retail as well and stuff like that. That's
Okay.
basically. I'm not gonna tell you my whole story, but I've been
Yeah.
working I've been working since I was 9 years old. By the way,
Okay.
so it's just a long story.
Cool,
So
cool, cool. So,
yeah.
um, were you a cop, or did you work well, I don't know how much you want to say, you know.
So I worked for the NYPD as a volunteer police officer. I did that for
Okay.
about 4 years.
Okay, okay, cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the reason I was asking because I know they do have like a forensics department, as far as IT forensics. I didn't know if you were kind of still involved with the police department doing like that type of work as well. And so I apologize. That just popped up in my head
You're not
when you
I would
said,
apologize for
yeah,
anything. Don't worry about it.
for sure, for sure.
Okay.
But
Yeah. Mhm.
so what? Well, no, you kind of already answered that, but I was gonna well, just highlight that, you know, um, a lot of people have always asked me, can you transition into IT, after a certain age? I don't know how old you are. Um,
Mhm.
did that was that tough getting back in there and actually learning and training and teaching yourself IT, or getting into that transitioning from a different industry or a different job field?
So, it's just funny how you say that. It's because I guess when I was younger, when I was little, I was always the type of person that would grab a electronic toy, right?
Mhm.
And I would throw it against the wall, and I would try to break it, and then I would try to fix it. So I
Okay.
was always curious about IT. I didn't get in. I didn't know how to get into it, but I was always curious about breaking stuff and fixing stuff. I was always doing that when I was a little kid. Um, when I learned about A plus as a CompTIA certification, I learned about hardware and software, and I went to that school, and then they show me things. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I know I kind of see why memory works that way,
Mhm.
or I kind of see why motherboards work that way. But the thing is that you need to like with me, my everyone learns differently, right? So some people are
Mhm.
good with reading books, and then some people are good by physically actually doing it. So I didn't understand it until I actually did it. So they would give you like a bad computer, and then you had to fix it.
Mhm.
So me being the little kid I am, I like to play around with things, right? So I literally got the computer and I started like breaking things apart, putting it together, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then I had a teacher that actually trained me, and he told me, "Okay, this part does this part does that, this part does that." I'm like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." So that's how I learned all my skills in IT because of that, and because of my first job too. When I got my first job in IT, I had training for that too, and I had like a really smart guy. He trained me about desktops, laptops, computer, Mac machines. He trained me about printers. No one likes printers. I don't like printers. And trained me about different things. And I learned that way. I'm a hands-on guy. I cannot read a book. A book for me is like really boring. I just can't read a
Mhm.
book. It's just I find it not interesting at all. So the only way I learn is by doing the actual physically grabbing it and doing it.
Mhm.
I don't know if that answers your
No,
question, but that's
no,
just
that
how
that's
I am.
right on point. Cause I learned the exact same way. That's like the first school I went to was one of those technical schools as well as Remington College, where
Mhm.
we had to actually set up networks. We had to, physically use their machines and set up the networks and stuff. And so that really, I really grasped the concept a whole lot better by actually doing it. So I totally agree with what you're saying. And that's why I kind of like, I don't know, relate IT to, other industries like mechanics. I mean, it's kind of the
Mhm.
same thing, as far as working on a car.
Mhm.
This screw only goes into this, threaded slot. So, I agree though. But let me roll to
Oh,
the. Oh, go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
was gonna ask you. Sorry. I was gonna ask
No,
you.
go
Oh,
ahead.
for to answer you, I started when I was in my 20s. I'm in my 30s now. To
Okay.
answer my
Okay.
age question. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got you. Got
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So, let's get into, I guess, the gist of what you kind of do on your channel. If someone was trying to get into IT, where do you think they should start?
That's a hard question for me to answer because
Uh-huh.
it depends what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So my answer to that would be different for everyone because it depends what you want to do. Because there's so many fields in IT that I cannot just tell you to do this and that and that and that. It depends what you want to do. So if you want to do help desk, because that's
Mm-hmm.
my channel focuses on IT support, help desk.
Mm-hmm.
Then I tell you to actually build a lab at home, and that's the same thing for every IT job. Actually, you build your own lab at home.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you have enough confidence in your ability to actually do it, then I say you add it on your resume. The only way you learn something is by physically doing it in the lab environment.
Mm-hmm.
That basically means you install VirtualBox, VMware, you install something, and
Mm-hmm.
you learn it that way. So if someone is brand new to, I just say like help desk, you install Server 2016, Server 2019, you configure Active Directory, you set up group policy, you set up NTFS, which is shared drive permissioning, you set up all these things. And then when you have enough confidence and enough skills to actually do it, you add it on the resume. Technically, you're not lying because you actually do it. And then when you go to a job interview and they ask you questions about it, you actually have something you could talk about because you have a
Mm-hmm.
lab environment set up. You could talk about it in your job. I've seen people get jobs that way, like literally they get asked, okay, tell me about Active Directory. Oh, that's funny. That's funny you say that. I actually have a lab environment set up for that. I actually know what Server 2016 is. I actually know how to give someone access to a certain folder or certain file. So that's how you, I guess that's how you attack the no job experience in IT.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically building these labs. The labs will help you out. So, but like I said, it depends what field you're trying to get into. So if you're doing like help desk IT support, then I tell you to do that kind of lab. If you're doing network admin, like if you want to be a network admin, then I wouldn't even tell you to do that. I'll tell you to go skip help desk, or you could work help desk if you want, and then become a network admin afterwards. Or you could basically apply for NOC positions, the
Mm-hmm.
network operating center positions, and then you could go ahead and you download Cisco Packet Tracer, and then you download that and you run Cisco routers and switches, and you build your own lab doing it that way. That's another example. If you're doing cybersecurity, then I'll give you other advice.
Yeah.
You apply for a SOC analyst, and you do a hack the box, and you practice hack the box, and you put that on your resume. So it kind of depends on the person and what they want to do, and
Mm-hmm.
that's basically how I see how I attack the those interviews and those experience in jobs. So every job is different, and every company
Mm-hmm.
requires you to learn certain things. So if you want to learn a different thing, then you could go ahead and do that. And like I said, my channel is primarily focused on IT support,
Mm-hmm.
help desk. I fix your resume. I help you with your resume. We do hands-on training. I network. We network a lot, by the way. So we network a lot with different job recruiters, with people on LinkedIn, and I do a little bit of everything. I'm all over the
Yeah.
place. I'm on Discord too. I'm all over the place. And we do. I actually do physical train. Like I physically train you, so you get prepared for the job market, and then you go ahead and apply for these jobs. And we do mock interviews too, and we do a lot of different things. Depends what your passion is for IT. Like I tell people, like do what you like. Don't do something that you don't like and you'll be miserable. Do something you
Yeah.
like and be happy about it and be passionate about it. If you're happy for something, then go ahead and do it. But you gotta put your heart and soul to it. If you don't like it, then don't do it. Do something you like and you're passionate about. So and then the skills and everything in IT, the sky's the limit. You could do whatever you like as long as you put your mind to it. It doesn't matter how you learn. Everyone learns differently. That's
Mm-hmm.
basically how I feel about all that. But hopefully that answers your question.
No, that perfect, man. You spot on. You know what I'm saying? And uh, let me ask you this though: is there a area you recommend? Let's say someone doesn't have computer experience at all.
Hmm.
Where do you think they should start with that A plus or a help desk area?
Yeah,
Or
yeah, 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 yeah. So there's the ITF certification. It's just like an entry level
yeah.
before A plus. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're brand new to, if you're like know absolutely nothing about computers, then you do ITF certification. That's from CompTIA. And then if you kind of have a little bit of understanding and you get the A plus, the reason why I say that is because IT support help desk, all these IT jobs require you to have A plus.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a job requirement. You're forced to have it. Um, but there's more than one way to get a job in IT. So like
Yeah.
you could. The thing is, in IT, it's so difficult to answer these questions and so
Mm-hmm.
difficult to say that. It's because I seen people get a job in IT with no job experience. I seen people get a job in IT with just having the A plus. I seen people get a job in IT with just having a computer science degree. So it really depends on your resume and it depends how you market yourself. It's all
Mm-hmm.
about marketing yourself and how your resume is set up. If you have a really good resume and it's hitting all the targets of that job requirement that you're applying for, then yeah, they're gonna call you, right? They're gonna call you. But if your resume is bad, then no one's gonna call you. That's just the reality of IT. You can apply to as many jobs as you want, but if your resume sucks, then no one's gonna call you. That's just how it works with IT and any job, obviously. So that's what I tell
Exactly.
people. But if you're brand new, study ITF or study A plus, study something that's something because you're not gonna know it. You're not gonna everyone everyone learns differently too. Like I said, like you can read the book or you could do hands-on training by building your own lab at home, watch a video, do something that works for you.
Mhm.
Everyone learns differently. Everyone has their own way of learning. No one is going to learn the same. The way I learn is not the same for someone else. Everyone has their brain is trained differently. We train ourselves for different things. So whatever works for you, you go ahead and do it. But for someone brand new, like I said, just get certified in A plus or ITF. That will help you out, and that will also help you, like, actually understand how certain things work. That's just the way I teach. Also in IT, I teach that way. I teach people like I tell people that people get mad at me. By the way, I get attacked a lot in the IT industry because from other people on
Really?
on YouTube, because people get mad at me because um,
Wow.
they tell me that no, you could just be a system admin, or you could just be a cybersecurity specialist, or you could just be a SQL specialist, or you could be a Linux admin. And then I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way. You have no job experience. No one's gonna hire you.
Yeah.
You have to understand the basics first before you go all the way to the top. So
Yeah,
some people
exactly.
get mad at me. They get mad at me because I tell them to start here and they want to go all the way up here when they're
Mhm.
brand new to IT. And it doesn't work that way. It
Yeah.
just they're gonna give people HR and the manager is not gonna let anyone touch a server if you're brand new to IT. So
Mhm.
that happens to me a lot in IT. People criticize me because of that. So that's basically I get like a backlash from
Yeah.
certain people. Not everyone. People are pretty cool, but other people are not. Other people that get mad at me when I tell them like you want to start here on the base level, right?
Mhm.
It's like building a house, right?
Yeah, you gotta
If
have
you
a
have
good
if
foundation.
you have a good foundation, the whole house will be okay. Nothing will fall apart. But if
Mhm.
you know nothing about IT and you're gonna go all the way up here, it's just gonna the whole house is gonna fall apart.
Yeah.
It's a mess.
Now I'm
It's
glad
just
you said that because that's
yeah,
why I was trying to pull out of you. Because
yeah,
I know that, and I always hear from people that either work in cybersecurity or just different areas that you have to have, like even networking, you have to have that base foundation in order to
hmm
understand what you're doing at those higher levels. So I
hmm
definitely agree with what you said. And let me give a couple of shout outs. Thank you, Professor Black Ops. Salute to you, man. I appreciate the super chat, as well as Red Seen the Blues. Good to see you, man. Thank you for coming through, stopping by and checking us out. And let me see. So let's get into keeping, I don't know, your skills current. Like, what are some of the things that you recommend people do as far as keeping, or just staying on top of technology, because it's constantly changing, and new things are
hmm
coming in, new like automation and all that stuff. And how do you recommend people keep their skills current?
I recommend you follow social platforms like LinkedIn. But not not like that way, but like follow the actual like LinkedIn groups, like for example, like Cisco, Microsoft, um, Amazon, AWS. You just follow the groups. Let's follow social platforms. Network with managers as much as you can. I tell people to go online and check their job requirements because the job requirements are always changing every week, every month. Technology is always
Mm-hmm.
changing, so you
Yeah.
cannot. The reality of IT. I teach people this too, by the way. I teach people this too. So are you asked this question, are you doing the same thing for a whole year, or are you always learning and doing different things throughout the year? If you're not growing and learning in IT and your job, then I think it's time for you to go somewhere else. It's
Mm-hmm.
just how I look at it. But to answer your question, you need to follow social platforms. You need to connect with people. You need to read books. And I told you I'm not a book guy, but watch videos, do something, right?
Yeah.
Um, you need to you need to follow, like I said, these platforms, read books, watch videos, um, check. Like I'm subscribed to different things. I'm subscribed to Microsoft. I'm subscribed to Amazon. I'm subscribed to Cisco. Like, just subscribe yourself to certain things. That way you don't get out of the market. You're not outdated.
Mm-hmm.
And also I'm on Discord too, and I'm on different Discords. I'm on different groups. I'm on different social platforms. I'm on different things. That way I don't get mind bottle with all these things that come up. But for
Mm-hmm.
someone that's brand new, they need to learn. They need to learn the cloud. The cloud is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. You have to learn the
Yep.
cloud. You cannot avoid the cloud. The cloud is here to stay. And tell people that. For someone that's brand new, pick one. Pick either AWS or pick Azure. One or the other.
Mm-hmm.
You can learn one or the other. Whatever works for you. You want to learn both, that's more power to you, but pick one or the other and learn how to use it because every company is doing it. Even
Yeah.
in my job, we're doing it. So you cannot avoid the cloud. So they have something called what's called a hybrid setup. So basically what that means is they have people with servers, or they have companies with servers, and they have Azure Connect on it. So Azure Connect allows you to talk to the server on Active Directory, and then it puts it together with Azure to like Azure Direct. It puts everything together. So basically, there's a server on your end, like the on-prem, on-site server, and then that
Mm-hmm.
connects with Microsoft Azure, and then that's how they do. They use AD Connect, and a lot of these companies are not going to pay a lot of money to have this, but some companies do have this. So you have to know how
Okay.
to do some sort of cloud system. This you cannot avoid it. It's just
Mm-hmm.
gonna that and Python, PowerShell, any of these any of these things you know how to do, you need to learn it. Like PowerShell is here to stay too. You cannot avoid PowerShell. Like
Oh yeah.
everyone uses it that I know. There's no one here
Mm-hmm.
that does not know how to use it. So I know I'm getting off topic, but basically, yeah, to
Nah, you
answer your
fine.
question.
Nah, you fine.
Yeah,
Um, so
yeah.
yeah, that's great things, man. I definitely try to push the LinkedIn thing because you got to have a network. So I definitely agree there. You know what I'm saying? And just subscribe to all these different things. So uh, I'm just reiterating what you said, man. You're spot on with everything you said. Um,
But
now,
like,
oh, go
oh,
ahead. Go
no, I was
ahead.
gonna say like for someone brand new, like I said, like you want to learn the cloud, but also like I said, like I told you, like we spoke earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fix your resume, get certified, connect with people on LinkedIn
Mm-hmm.
a lot. Connections are very important on LinkedIn.
Oh yeah.
Um, Sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know in IT.
Yep.
That's just the way it works. So if you
Yep.
know someone that lives around your area, like, oh, let me get your resume. You give them the resume, and then they might hire you. You don't know.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. Um, Talk to job recruiters. Um, Try to join like some sort of, if you're from London, because I know people from London watch these types of videos,
Mm-hmm.
join some sort of apprenticeship or internship, join something. And then be part of a job community, or join like a webinar for jobs and stuff like that. So
Okay.
all those things I recommend. You could do all those things if you're brand new to IT. So I just
Mm-hmm.
wanted to throw that out there in
Now let
case
me ask
anyone's
you this:
watching.
do you well, and I know it's kind of hard now because of the whole pandemic thing, but I
Hmm.
remember before the pandemic, I was trying to go to different meetups. Uh, do you recommend people do that as well? And do you know what I'm talking about? Like trying to think of the website. I think it's meetups.com or meetups, and you can find like tech meetups, like they'll do coffee and code, or just different things like that, where people will meet up at a coffee shop and we'll just talk about Python or learn Python.
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
definitely recommend that. And for
Yeah.
someone that's brand new, I recommend you buy someone that has IT experience. Take them out to eat, or do like a Zoom, because you know it's the whole pandemic, right? Do like a Zoom call with them and buy
Mm-hmm.
coffee for them, and then interview them and ask them how did they get a job in IT.
Yep.
That's the way you learn. If you
Mm-hmm.
want to be in a certain job, get someone on LinkedIn and interview them and ask them how they got that job. Say, you know what you need to do to get that job. So that's
Mm-hmm.
what I tell someone that's brand new. Just go ahead and connect with that person in a polite way. Obviously, you go ahead and talk to them and see what
Mm-hmm.
they did to get that job. That's the only way you're gonna grow in IT is by talking to people and connecting with people and
Yep.
interacting and stuff like that.
Yep,
So
relationships are very important, man.
mhm.
So, now let me ask you this, because you brought up certifications a couple times. Do you recommend people go to school and get a degree, or certifications, or both? And that's that, crazy question that everybody asks. Is I just wanted to see your thoughts on it.
So for someone, I say like, that question, like I said, it's kind of hard to answer that question because I've
Yeah.
seen people get a job with a degree. I see people get a job with certifications. I've seen someone get a job with absolutely nothing on their resume that's
Mm-hmm.
IT related and still get a job in IT. So, for me, like I recommend if you have money, get a degree. If you don't
Mm-hmm.
have money, don't get a degree. A degree is good to have if you're trying to work a managerial job. If you're trying to be like an IT manager, or you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to do something like high end, some of these job requirements they require you to have a degree.
Mm-hmm.
So It also depends on the company you're working for. Every company is different. So some companies don't even care about a degree. They just care about certifications.
Mm-hmm.
Other companies care about job experience. Other companies care about that degree. So varies from company to company. So if you, like I said, if you have money to get a degree, go ahead and do it. If you don't, go get certified and do it that way. But
Mm-hmm.
like I said earlier before, there's more than one way to get a job in IT.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we all end up in the same place.
Yeah.
So, oh,
And back to what you said earlier,
mhm,
by just looking at those jobs on Indeed, and I mean just look at the types of jobs that you're trying to get into and look at the requirements. So and that'll give you an idea of what direction you need to go. Depending on
mhm,
what area you're trying to get into, but also leave your options open. This is one thing I tell people because a position may look good on paper, like, oh, I want to be a hacker, I want to be a cybersecurity, and you get into that type of position and you really don't like it, or you find that you may want to do networking more because you understand that a whole lot better. So it kind of you never know where you're gonna end up. You know what I'm saying? And so um just keep the options open. I guess that's what I'm saying. But I agree with what you said.
yeah, keep your
um,
options open because, yeah, like I agree with what you said too. Like sometimes some of these job requirements or some of these job postings, they look glamorous and beautiful, but then when you go to the actual job, it's not what you wanted it to be in. So
hmm.
make sure you do your research. I guess Glassdoor or anything that you just make sure you do your research, Indeed or Glassdoor, anything. Just research the company before you actually go to that job because you don't know. So it's like a keep your I guess keep your mind open
Hmm.
to what I'm going to say right now. Actually, keep your mind open to what I'm going to say right now, because some companies they look beautiful and glamorous and everything. But what if your job where you're in right now, it's a good job, you have a good manager and and you work with good coworkers. But then if you go to the other job, what if your manager is not a happy? He's not You're not happy with your manager or you're not happy with your coworkers. So
Yeah.
keep that all in your head. Just keep your options. Think about all that. That's why like I make the argument with some people like um I can make this amount of money, right? I can make this amount of money, but what's the point of me making this amount of money if my schedule sucks and I'm miserable?
Yeah.
That's how
Don't
I
have
look at
time
it.
for
I look at it
anything
that way.
else, or yeah.
That's like tough truth right there. I'm telling you, tough truth right there. So
Hmm.
if you have all this money and you have no time to spend time with your loved ones and family and for yourself, then what's the point of you having, that job? You want
Hmm.
to have a balance. Everything is a balance. IT is a balance. Life is a balance. Everything's a balance. That's how I look at it. That's just the way I think. I'm not sure if you agree with me, but that's my mindset. That's how I
No,
think.
I
So
definitely agree. Yeah, it is a
yeah.
balance. Now,
Mhm.
let me ask you this: since I my channel is typically about Linux, how important is Linux? In or at least knowing Linux when to get in these types of positions, like help desk or anything like that, or
No, you
anything
need to know
higher.
Linux.
Huh?
You need to know Linux.
Okay. Yeah. Simple
Yeah.
question. Simple answer.
Yeah. You need to know Linux. So like for me, I don't use Linux a lot, by the way. My job is primarily Windows.
Hmm.
But when we have to do something on Linux, you know what I do? Like this is just I guess it's a Kevin thing. So what I do is um um I put Linux on a VM basically. So
Hmm.
I have Linux on the VM. And then when someone has a weird issue, I try to replicate that issue on the VM.
Hmm.
And then what I do is I get back to them and I fix the issue. I'm like, okay, I was able to recreate that issue you're having. So let me no, wait, actually, what's the error message you're getting? Oh, let me see that. Okay, let me try to recreate that problem on my VM. Give me a second, and I go ahead and look at it. I
Hmm.
recreate the problem and I get back to okay. So this is how you. This is I think this is how you fix it. So I reverse engineer the problem and then I try to
Yeah.
fix it. So I do
Yeah.
that with everything, everything.
Yeah,
So
and that's a great way of actually doing it. That's why I have like a whole bunch of VMs. I have Windows VMs, on my system, and I even have Windows servers where with SQL on it because I'm a database administrator. So
mhm.
I have to I don't know, if I see an error, I try to replicate the error on my home network. I don't have the data, obviously. This is that's owned by the company, but I do have a database set up where I can try to replicate the issue, whether it's like a authentication issue or something along those lines or whatever outside of the actual data. Uh, so that's a great way of troubleshooting. So I'm glad you brought that up. I just wanted to kind of highlight it, man. I'm glad you brought that up. I do the
Yeah,
exact same thing.
I nerd out that way. That's just how I
Yeah.
nerd out that way. So I basically I recreate the problem on my end just to see
Mm-hmm.
if I want to know to I teach that way too, by the way. So because I do technical teaching, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Um and on my YouTube channel we do technical training. I do technical teaching and I do that for free, by the way. All my stuff is free, just like you. That's why I like talking to you, because you do a lot of free stuff. So um
Appreciate it.
I do it like that. I tell someone, like, this is how you troubleshoot the issue, right? Um, is it affecting everyone, or is it just affecting one person? So I try to narrow down the issue. Okay, it's just this one person having an issue. Okay, let me see what error message you get. Okay, let me see if I can recreate it, and I get back to them and I fix it. So that's how I look at it. If it's affecting everyone, then we know there's some sort of outage in the whole company. But if it's not, if it's just one person, then you just know it's just that one person that's having that issue. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's how
Yeah.
I look at it. Mhm.
Cool, cool, cool. So let me give you a quick shout out. Yeah, if you guys are not subscribed to Kevtech IT Support, that's who I have on today. I'm trying to, help him with his channel and, and just I don't know, bring in someone that's working in the field to put their, perspectives out there. So just check out his channel, subscribe and all that stuff, hit the bell, because he puts out a lot of great information, like he just said, you know. And throughout this whole video, he's putting out gems, dropping gems, and so check him out, man. Subscribe. But so the next thing,
Thank
uh,
you, man.
huh?
Appreciate it.
Oh
No,
yeah,
thank
yeah.
you.
No
Yeah.
problem, no problem, no problem. Um, so programming languages, I want to hop into that. What programming languages do you think people should at least start learning, you know, if they're trying to get into the field? Because I know Python is big and most people say that, but is there anything else you could think of, or do you do programming a lot,
No,
or
I do PowerShell a little bit,
mm-hmm.
just a little bit. So I
But
do
scripting,
PowerShell.
so scripting is something that's important. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
I
Oh
ain't
no,
want to cut you
sorry.
off.
I do PowerShell in a It's gonna sound really weird. So I do power I do PowerShell with Silence. It's a program called Silence.
Okay.
Basically it checks for vulnerability and security. Cybersecurity uses it a lot. It's like uh Splunk. I don't know if you ever heard of Splunk.
Yeah, I've heard of Splunk. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So we have a program called Silence, and it scans your computer. It stops you from doing certain things on the computer. You can't run commands. You can do. So I use it for automation in a way to check other computers to see if they have that Silence app installed on their computer, or our computers need to have it. So I run a command to check that, and basically it creates an Excel sheet, and
Mm-hmm.
then imports it. It imports it and it sends it back and puts it on my downloads folder, and then I check to see which computer has it and which computer does not have it. Now, if you don't have it, I'm gonna go ahead and call you and reach out to you. I'm like, why do you not have this on your computer? So that we have to install it on your computer. So basically, that's what I use it for. But to answer your question, yeah, PowerShell, Python. I've seen people use JavaScript and some
Mm-hmm.
other stuff like HTML, CSS, C++. Like I've seen people do all that. Like in my job, I don't do that, but
Mm-hmm.
I have like software developers that I work with. So I'm
Okay.
always working with different vendors and different people. So they use C++, Java, Python. Um, I seen someone use. I don't know if you ever heard of Anaconda. It's
Yes.
a program
Yes.
called Anaconda.
Yep.
So I seen people use Anaconda, and they use that. They combine that with Bloomberg. So we because I work in a financial industry. So I didn't even tell you what kind of job I do, but I work in a
Okay.
financial industry. And they use Anaconda, and they use the application Anaconda, and they combine it with Bloomberg, and then they put it together to make money, like to actually export money for the company.
Okay.
Most companies start using it that way, and they do some sort of think of it like mining, like
Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin, something
Yeah.
like that, similar to that. They do that with automation with Anaconda. Is
Yeah.
basically
That's
to
that's
answer your
that's
question.
exactly what it is. I just did a video on Anaconda, just like an introduction, because that goes into the whole data science thing and automation, all that good stuff. So
Hmm.
it's that's a great tool. So yeah.
Yeah.
Now, since we talking about automation, how is automation impacting like the types of jobs that are out there now, in your opinion, or in your area?
Like I said, PowerShell. I guess
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go back to PowerShell because
Yeah.
that's what most of the places that I've gone to they're using it. So, you need to know PowerShell. Like I said, it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. You need to know some sort of automation. Um, Even the people that are new learn automation, some sort of automation. If you already have a job and you're already working a job, at
Mm-hmm.
some point you're gonna need to know automation. You cannot avoid automation. You
Yeah.
have to know how to do some sort of PowerShell commands and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, even in my job, I didn't know about this, and then I had to like kind of like force myself to learn it. So you have to learn it. You cannot avoid it at all. Like every job requires it now. Even I seen people do help desk that does help desk. They do PowerShell with Azure. Like that wasn't a thing before. Now you're actually
Mm-hmm.
doing that. So same thing, PowerShell, and then they're doing like AWS and stuff like that. So it's something that you cannot avoid. You need to learn that, and all the jobs are moving into automation. You need to
Mm-hmm.
learn how to do that in every job now. It's not like before where you have to manually, you manually do it. You go to the console and everything. It's not like that anymore. Now it's more you have to actually learn how to do it. You cannot avoid it at all. So hopefully that answers your question.
Okay. Yeah. No,
Mhm.
you definitely do. And I agree with you. Automation is going to be involved at every level of IT at some in the future. Pretty
Mhm.
soon. So,
Yep.
um, it's definitely important to get into it. But you already kind of talked about cloud computing, but um, is there anything else you want to say about cloud computing? Because I know that's the future. That's going to be here. Go ahead though. Go ahead if you
Oh,
want
I
to.
was gonna say, yeah, you need to know about Azure and AWS. You cannot, like I said, you cannot like I said, some companies have it already. Some companies are still on prem, so like they don't have anything set up with the cloud yet. And some companies have a combination of both. Some companies are straight off just going into cloud. So depends what company you're working for, but for the most part, you need to know either Azure or AWS. Get
Mm-hmm.
certified in one or the other. Get certified in both if you can.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to know the more you know. I guess the more you know the better, but also the more you know the more responsibility.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, that's how it is.
Now let me
So
ask you this:
mhm.
do you find that more companies are using AWS versus Azure, or because I know AWS is kind of huge. It's like the biggest cloud provider right now, right? Or
Mhm.
right ahead of Microsoft. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
well, never
No,
mind.
no.
I answered my own question. Yeah. Um. Now, I guess.
Do
Go
you
ahead.
wanna did I tell you what I do in my job? Did I even go over
I
that?
think. Well, I think I kind of messed up the beginning question that I typically ask, which is, uh, I wanted you to introduce yourself and kind of, I don't know, give a little more. So if you want to, go ahead. Go ahead if you want to.
Yeah, so I guess I'll answer that question. So I work IT support for a hedge fund. That's
Okay.
basically what I do. My title is a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it says help desk, but I'm not help desk.
Okay.
The titles sometimes are very misleading.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have I'm a senior help desk, but I not talk. I do a combination of networking, servers, and Active Directory, and a little bit of everything. So
Okay.
basically what I do is on the me, we have a ticketing system too. We have ServiceNow, and I respond to tickets that way. We also because of the whole pandemic thing, I deal with networking in the sense of Cisco. So I set up VoIP phones. I set up soft phones for people. So basically, they can make calls from their laptops and stuff like that. But I work in the hedge fund environment, the financial environment, with my position is a little unique because it's like a new position that they made and gave it to me.
Mm-hmm.
I work IT support for the CEO of the company.
Okay. Oh man.
Yeah, I do white glove support. So I work with a lot of executives and VP. That's
Oh.
basically what I do. I work with executives. Oh, it's all C level people. that
Mhm.
are very important. Time is money.
Mhm.
Very fast paced.
Yeah.
And I touch Exchange, Office 365. I do networking, Cisco routers and switches. Touch silence, touch two-factor authentication, some AWS, some Azure. Also touch like I said, I set up VoIP phones. I assign phone numbers. I assign like phone numbers to individual people that start new hires. I have access to Active Directory. I have access to pretty much do everything in Active Directory because I work with the CEO. So
Mhm.
I'm not escalating tickets or anything like that. So usually I have to fix it on my own and figure out what it is. If not, we have a team, so I ask for help
Okay.
if I'm stuck on something.
Mhm.
But typically there's no escalation
Mhm.
in my job. So typically it's just that's just the way it is. So if he's having an issue, I have to fix it on the fly and figure out how to
Yeah.
fix it. And I set up video calls and stuff like that with him too. So
Okay. Cool, cool.
yeah,
So now, have you ever worked with any financial databases or in any way? Like and the only reason I'm asking that because I used to work for the financial department of a kind of a small business or medium business in Texas, where I manage their Hyperion database. I don't know if you ever heard of it. I
I
guess
heard of
that's
Hyperion.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that cubed based database. Yeah, it's weird. That was my first time ever seeing anything like that and understanding. And I had to learn a lot of financial terms like EBITDA and I don't know if you know any of that, but it's anyway.
yeah. We use Hyperion, same thing. We
Mm-hmm.
use an application called Waterfall. These are all
Okay.
SQL applications. We use another application called Hedgehog. I know that
Mm-hmm.
sounds weird. Hedgehog.
Yeah.
So some of these companies have their own in-house apps that they use.
Okay.
In my other job, they did have applications that basically it runs on prod. I guess you say prod production,
Yeah,
right?
production. Yeah. Prod.
So we have SQL databases, and sometimes for the living hell out of IT, some of these things don't want to work, right? Some people
Yeah.
log in, they have these company websites like the intranet. I don't know if you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about, the intranet, like the
Yeah.
company websites.
Yeah, I know what you're
Um,
talking about.
and basically it doesn't work properly, and then they cannot do what they're supposed to do. So
Mm-hmm.
as an IT guy, I have to go in there and log into the server, remote into the server, the SQL server, and I have to go ahead and restart some services because I am not going to restart a whole server, a whole server. We don't do that, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So I
definitely.
have to go in there and then figure out what service it is that's stopping it from working. So I have to
Mm-hmm.
go in there and remote in and actually, obviously go into services and just reset that service. Sometimes we have issues like that. So that was my previous job. And my current job, I'm not doing that. But my previous job, I was doing that. I was basically looking at services, resetting the services. If you cannot restart a whole server, so you have to
Mm-hmm.
figure out what service is the one that's messing up the whole production from working. So then I would
Yeah.
go in there and reset it, and we would restart the server like not a lot. Obviously we don't
Mm-hmm.
we try to avoid that, but I know what you're talking about. I'm familiar with that application, and I kind of know what you're talking about.
Okay,
So
cool, cool, cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
Now, ooh, I I had it and then I lost it. I was gonna ask you, um, hmm, never mind. It'll come back to me, I guess, in a little bit. But let me just get to a couple questions. If you guys have any questions that you want to ask, Kevin, just put them in the chat. Let me scroll through and just see, cause I haven't been paying attention to the chat as much, um, and see if we have any questions. It looks like uh a lot
Yeah,
of
having a
stuff.
conversation over there. I'm looking at
Yeah,
it too.
yeah. So nah, but I'm glad to have you guys in the building. Coming through and hanging out and listening to Kevin. You know what I'm saying?
No, much love to everyone in chat and everyone here.
Yeah.
I'm like that. So
Now, hold on. I'm trying to think of that question because it would have been a great segue into something else. I just forgot exactly what it was. So never mind. If it comes back to me, I actually after. But
it's all good.
nah.
All good.
But I definitely appreciate you coming on. it don't look like many people are asking questions. A
They're,
lot
they're,
of people
they're
know
talking
you.
about something else.
Yeah, yeah. So, but nah, man. Is there anything else you wanted to, I don't know, put out there? Because, like I said, I already tried to. Well, I try to get people to go over and subscribe to Kevin, man. He puts out a lot of great content. But is there anything else you want to say? Like, I don't know, as far as promote.
No, I said like basically, like I said, like if you're brand new to IT, fix the resume, talk to job recruiters, connect with people, join social platforms. They have study groups for certifications, by the way. I didn't know that. So they have
Mm-hmm.
study groups for they have discords and study groups for certifications. I didn't know that. So if you want to study a certain certification, they have a study group for that on Discord. Like Cisco has a Discord, and you could do CCNA and learn that.
Mm-hmm.
Same with these other certifications. They have their own they have their own thing. So that's basically what I recommend people doing. And also recommend that I'm gonna go back to the resume again. So if your if okay, so this is to answer other people's that are brand new, right? At IT. If you get a if you get the call for the job interview, then that means your resume has no issues. And if you don't get the job, it's because you have issues with your interview skills.
Mm-hmm.
So it's either you're lacking in technical answers or you're lacking in soft skills, which is like the personality questions. Some of these companies they like to ask personality questions instead of asking you technical questions. So if you're getting a lot of calls for jobs and you're going into the job interview and prepare yourself for that because some companies will ask you technical questions, some will not. Some will ask
Mm-hmm.
you about your resume, so make sure you have a good resume. You're not lying on your resume. Some will ask you about your previous employers too. Like it depends what company you're going to, but make sure you have a good resume. But also, like I said, if your resume sucks, no one's gonna call you. If you have a good resume, they will call you. But just make sure you're
Mm-hmm.
prepared for the interview that you're having with somebody.
Exactly. Hey, and somebody just remind me of what I was gonna ask you. And actually Zakiba said it. Could you go more into the lab situation? So how do you how do you have a lab set up at the house? Like how do you I don't I don't know how deep you want to go into it, but how do you set up your lab to practice?
So I have a server that I have a dedicated server.
Mm-hmm.
It's not here. It's like I remote into it. It's in the
Okay.
cloud.
Okay.
And I have a server, and basically I remote into it, and I have a EXI.
Yeah,
Can't pronounce it.
ESXEI or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
I
So
know what you're
I
talking
have
about.
that. Yeah, I have that set up on a server, and I have Active Directory set up, group policy, NTFS, FTP stuff set up on a server basically. And then I have this is really weird. I have another computer that is part of that domain. So I created Active Directory. I created a domain, and it's part of the domain. And basically, I practice that way. So like I do certain things on it, and I practice certain things on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have Office 365 on the cloud as well, and I practice that as well. And
Okay.
I start throwing apps in there, like I start throwing applications in there, like PDQ. PDQ is a deployment application, stuff like that. So if you're brand new to IT and you're doing help desk or IT support, it's usually what we do. So I train you on that. So if you're doing help desk IT support, I tell you like build your own lab at home. Just make sure you have a good computer. If you have a bad computer, it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you have a good computer. Um, if you cannot afford a good computer, then you could do it for free on Azure for 30 days, and then you have the license for 12 months. If you can't do it there, then do it in AWS. It's good for 1 month as well. If you can't
Mm-hmm.
do it in there, then do it on Google. Google has their own VMs. You can do it in Google.
Yep.
So there's more than one way to do it. So basically, you actually do it that way, and then basically you build your own little lab, and then when you have enough confidence, you add that skills to your resume. So someone that's doing help desk, typically or IT support, they had to know about Active Directory. They didn't have to know about Office 365. Office 365 is good for 30 days, so you can go ahead and register for that and actually study that. So learn Active Directory, then Office 365. Learn about account creation, password reset, group policy, how to set someone up on a share folder, stuff like that. And then when you have enough experience and understanding of it, like you could talk to your mom. Basically, if you're able to talk about it like you talk to your mom in a non-technical way, then you can add those skills to your resume, and then you can start applying for jobs. So
exactly.
hopefully that makes sense.
Nah, it makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
and I. That's why I want that. That's one of the reasons I wanted to ask you about the lab because I just purchased a Dell server not that long ago that I'm gonna use Proxmox and try to set up a whole lab environment, which I have one currently, but it's I just want to upgrade it or whatever. Um, and I just use VMs to have my whole network set up. And I use a lot of open source software, but I can, I guess, with this server, I had enough resources to install a lot more Windows stuff as well, um,
Hmm.
other than what I have in VirtualBox on my laptop. But yeah, lab is important. It's good to have that stuff, and that's why I wanted to ask you that question that I totally forgot. Now, did you see any other questions you wanted to answer? I was looking
Yes.
through.
Someone was asking what kind of desktop should you get. You should have you could get away with 8 gigs of RAM, but if you get 16 gigs of RAM and a good CPU and a usually I tell people is like get a used PC on eBay or something like that, and
Hmm.
then you play around with that, and then open it, fix it. They make a virtual lab and stuff like that on a used PC. You don't have to get something too expensive, and then just create your own little VMs in there and just start playing around with it. That's
Hmm.
basically what I tell people. So you could get a really good PC, a used one, not that expensive, and then you just go ahead and play that way with the PC. Because someone was asking what kind of desktop you should get. You could do that, or you go all in like me and I have a gaming PC.
Yeah.
Either that or whatever works for you, whatever you could afford. I'm not gonna tell you to go get a
Yeah.
gaming PC. You know.
Yeah, or
Um,
or if you can afford it, the power bill, just go down and get you. They got those Dell R720s on eBay for like $300, and you can spin up a whole bunch of VMs on those things, and all you need is hard drives for like $300. You know what I'm saying? If you can stand the noise, because they can get very loud. You know what I'm saying? So. And then, I was glad you brought up the whole cloud thing because that's how I run my websites now. I got rid of a lot of those hosting services because they're very expensive. I run a whole bunch of websites from Google Cloud, and since the traffic is not that much, and this little server that I pay for can handle it, I'm able to run like multiple websites on there, and I pay about $4 a month, maybe. So that's something people can look into too if they, looking for some type of hosting.
yeah. So someone was asking about the cloud, and you just answered the question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, someone was asking in chat about the cloud, and you just answered the question they were asking about. And someone wrote in, like, how do I have time to do these things? 'Cause I'm always
Okay.
busy. So I'm
Oh
always
yeah. Well, I'm gonna go on and call it a day, man. I definitely appreciate you coming through, and shout out to Wagner. Thanks for coming through, man. I appreciate the $1.49 super chat. Definitely appreciate it, man. Um, but nah, Kevin, man, I definitely appreciate you coming through, man. We gonna have to do it again.
Mhm.
You dropped a whole bunch of gems, and that's typically why I try to do these interviews. So people that work in different areas, because I've worked in multiple areas too. I've worked in as a network administrator, system administrator. I've done, a lot of Cisco stuff. I don't remember it now, but Active Directory stuff. But I always want to bring in somebody that's currently working in that area because I know things have changed since I worked in it, since I've messed with Active Directory, since I've messed with group policies and all that stuff. I know things have improved and it's a whole lot better. And I really love what you're doing on your channel. And if you
Oh,
guys,
thank you, man.
yeah, if you guys don't know, I'm interviewing Kevtech. Uh, get down to his channel. I think I posted his let me post it again, but this is YouTube channel. Check him out, man. He definitely puts out a lot of great information. I definitely appreciate him taking the time to come through and do this. So any porting shots or last words?
See, someone said, according to Kev, you should build a job hunter better put in his resume in the market scene. Yeah, yeah, like I yeah, like someone saying, yeah, if you know how to do it, put it on the resume. If you don't know how to do it, don't put it on don't lie in your
Yeah,
resume.
don't lie, cause he'll
Don't
get
lie in your
called
resume.
out. Yeah, you'll get called out, and I've been in interviews, because I've had to help with interviews as well, by sitting at the table trying to, while they're trying to bring in, and they'll call you out. They'll,
Yeah.
if they see something on your resume and they really know about it, they'll ask you something subtle about that. And if you don't know, and you put on your resume, I'm an expert in X, Y, and Z, and you don't know this one term, that means you're not an expert. I mean, if especially if it's something simple. So,
I interview people too, by the way. It's
mm-hmm.
not like I just do IT. I interview people from in my area, in my in the company I work for. I interview people for
Okay,
jobs too. So
okay,
it's just,
okay,
if you don't know something, don't put it on the. Please don't do that. I
yeah,
don't recommend lying on a resume. Um, Also, like, I wanted to add one last thing. Just make sure you research online the job market in your area, because it's different everywhere you live.
mm-hmm.
Just make sure you check online what's required of your area, because my area is probably hiring for IT support. Your area is probably hiring for people that do cloud or something else. So just make sure that you research your area. Don't just assume that you could get a job in this field or that field, because every country, every state is different. So just make sure you do all your research and figure out your job market and the area that you live in. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, perfect, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Rohit was asking. Well, you already answered it, right? You answered this
Yeah, I
question.
answered it. Yeah,
Okay,
so
all
don't lie on
right.
your resume. Just
Okay.
be prepared for be prepared
Mm-hmm.
to answer those interview questions if they're asking you about something on your resume. Don't lie on your resume.
Yeah, definitely. But
Mm-hmm.
like I said, man, I appreciate you coming through. Uh, we're gonna go ahead on and shut it down. I appreciate all you guys coming through and checking it out. Shout out Complex Design. Thanks for coming through, man. I'm glad to see you as well. Um, and you guys have a good one. Peace.
There, guys.